Peace and grace. Once again, I'm recording the second video clip, and I hope that this clip will include all the points that I would like to make and finish them all, so that it doesn't become too boring, because I know the material, the scientific material, and even the spiritual material, as well as the pragmatic or practical issues involved in my discussion are a little bit bland, and thank you for bearing with me. I hope that this clip will include everything and allow me to say what I want to say, and that's it. This clip or over two clips, and I will merge them together. Anyway, back to my response to Hegumen Father Youhanna Nassif. I would like to point out a few points, but before that, I would like to just imagine that maybe one of yourselves, one person, maybe even you all would start asking me, why do you keep talking about calendars and Gregorian calendar and this type of calendar and that type of calendar? It is just a very straightforward issue. Just change the date from this to that, and that's it. No, that is not scientific. I will elaborate on this, and I hope that you can hear me quite well, because I changed the scenery and the background, hoping that this will make some better interaction. But in any case, let me say this very clearly. When we want to change something with regards to a date, then we will have to think about calendars, because it is not a calculation or a mathematical. It is not actually as opposed to what our Hegumen Father would argue. It is not a mathematical change. It is not just arithmetic in nature. No, it's date change. So we have to talk about calendars. And that's why I was talking all of this time about Gregorian calendar, and why the Gregorian calendar adjustment, the adjustment of the Western calendar by Pope Gregory was already flawed. But apart from all of that, there is another consideration that I would like to point out, and a couple of points moreover after this. But let me talk to you about the Metonic cycle. Metonic cycle is named after a Greek scientist or astronomer, I can't remember. I think he was an astronomer called Meton. I think that's how they pronounce his name. And the Metonic cycle is actually a 19-year cycle, which consists of 235 months, or in other words, 6,940 days, which is basically finding a common factor between the lunar yearly cycle and the solar yearly cycle. So 19 was taken as the common factor, because after these 19 years, all the days, all the feasts, everything comes back to the same point in the solar calendar as in the lunar calendar. That's according to the Wikipedia and the websites timeanddate.com that explain what the Metonic cycle is. Okay, what interests us in the Metonic cycle is that the average length of the year in the Metonic cycle is 365 days and a quarter, and 1/76, or a 76th of a year, which I think amounts to 18.5 or 19 minutes, something like this. And that means that the average year in the Metonic cycle, or the average Metonic year, is very nearly similar to the average Coptic year or Julian year, because in the Julian calendar or the Coptic calendar, The average length of the year is 365 days and a quarter, as opposed to the Gregorian calendar, because in the Gregorian calendar, the average is 365 days, 49 minutes and 12 seconds, which is almost 26 or 27 seconds more than the average, the true arithmetic or mathematical average of the solar year. Okay? So you are saying actually that the Gregorian calendar is only 27 seconds or 26 seconds off from the true average, the true mathematical average, which is 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes, and 46, or in some sources 45 seconds. So why hold on to the Metonic year? I will say why. Noting that the Earth in its rotation around the Sun does not stick to the orbit itself. I mean, the orbit itself changes shape, and in fact the year changes speed. Scientists have already argued and proven that the Earth is slowing down in its rotation, so it's getting longer and longer and nearer to the true Coptic average, which again is mathematical, to the true Coptic year average, or the true average of the Coptic year, or the true average Julian year. So it is slowing down. But what interests us in the Metonic cycle is actually the apoctee calculation, which is the old computus. And that means that is the reason why our forefathers, from the time of the Council of Nicaea onwards, were able to determine exactly the relationship between the Feast of Resurrection and Easter in the Western communities or societies, with the old computus calculation, and its relationship to the slaughtering of the lamb, as well as to the vernal equinox, or the day of the spring equinox. Let us remember one important thing, one very, very important thing. Our calendar has never changed. We have not changed anything. In all honesty, we still celebrate the Feast of Nativity on the 25th of December. Our 29th of Kiak, or the 28th of Kiak, after the Coptic leap year, comes on the 25th of December, Julian calendar. What had changed was the days according to the Gregorian calendar, not our days. And that is important, because if we do change, then we will find ourselves out of sync with the calculation, out of synchrony with the calculation of the Jewish Passover. And then we will fall in the pit of celebrating the Feast of Nativity twice a year, as I have alluded to before. Between the two vernal equinoxes. And please remember that our vernal equinox still falls on the 21st of March, Julian calendar, old style Julian calendar, which is the 3rd of Baramhat in the Coptic year, and that is still the same. So the argument of the Feast of Nativity, the Feast of Circumcision, the Feast of Theophany, any other feast in the Coptic Church to move away from its current date and get into the Lent, the days of the Lent, or to be celebrated during the Lent, is actually a mistaken argument in the first place. It is based on a wrong premise, because the 3rd of Baramhat, which is the 21st of March, old style Julian calendar, will still move in relation to the Gregorian calendar. So this will move, as well as the 29th of Kiak which will come on the 8th of January or 9th of January after 2 more centuries, or 10th of January in 3 centuries, and whatever many centuries, or however many centuries it might take. So the 3rd of Baramhat, the 21st of March, will still keep moving as well. So it will never happen. It will never happen at all that the feast of Nativity or the feast of Theophany will come and be celebrated during either the Great Lent or the Jonas fast. It will never happen, I assure you. In any case, there are still some other points, pragmatic as well as spiritual, that I will still record in another clip and merge them together. But I would like to hear your opinions at any time, and please keep them coming.